Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
We are back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The lion. The lion. New music, so funny. Kirk Cousins.
All right. I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Sean Spencer back again on this Thursday, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And tonight I am here with the Round Table. Yes, sir. I am so excited. Love when I get to be with these two guys, and now they can see my face every week. So that makes me feel even better.
Aren't we lucky?
Right? And who's with me? You already know who they are. To my immediate left or right, I don't know whichever way you're looking. The host of Diversity with Delilah, Delilah Crespo. Yeah. Are we back at my buddies? Are we back at 44?
Yes, she is.
North Clark Street?
Be prepared, folks. She's got a couple of brews in her. This ought to be a good one.
Hey, to see if there's any dine and dash.
Just gonna get. Oh my god, that was funny.
I'm not hating. I wish I had a few.
Right? Yo, hey, and you already know, if it got a little smoky in here, if it's a little foggy, don't worry. That just means my man Nick is in the building. Mr. I Want the Smoke, Nicholas Rosario. What up, Nick?
What's happening, people? It's Thursday and tomorrow's Friday. Yay.
Oh, yeah. So excited about
Weekend
that.
is upon us, kids. Weekend is upon us.
Yes. But those of us that work 7 days a week, we don't know what weekends are.
Well, yeah. I don't know what it is either because I am working this weekend, but whatever.
See, right?
So,
hey, shout out to Wendy. What's up, Wendy? She's saying what's up to the
Wendy's
guys.
back. Hi, Wendy.
Back.
Don't hate me, Wendy.
We will mention Aaron Rodgers' name once.
Oh, wow. There it is. We just did. Wendy.
Right,
Don't get
right,
you don't get another one. There's your Aaron Rodgers for the day.
It is the beginning of the show, so we definitely like to call out positive things, birthdays, great situations. Want to shout out my cousin. My older cousin got herself a new car. She's been grinding, doing her thing. She's a single mother of a beautiful, beautiful girl.
Ooh,
so my cousin Kara.
I saw the photos. Yeah.
Yes. Doing big things, man. I'm so proud of you, baby girl. Hallelujah. Like I said in the comment, man, keep doing your thing. I want to get a ride in that car. Let's get it. It.
Everybody wants to ride in the car. Let's go.
And as I posted up, if most of y'all saw, I posted up a video, a little montage thing that I did for my niece, Tori Danielle, for her birthday.
Yeah,
and it was great. It was great until I put it on Instagram, and then my other niece hit me up, and she was like, "Yo, my birthday's tomorrow. Where you at, Sean? Where you at, Mom? Where you at?" So I gotta shout out my niece, Tyler. What up, girl? Yo, absolutely love her. Doing amazing thing. This girl is so beautiful. She'll be a model. She's just all over the States doing her thing, man. So shout out to you, Tyler. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You already know. And happy birthday. Yo, and we gotta shout out one more person. Tricia Kennedy Kramer, my man Will Kramer, WK.
Not the South Carolina eggplant.
Yes, South Carolina eggplant wife. Gotta shout out his wife. Yo, I appreciate you, Tricia, because you know what? Hey, Tricia, you have given Will to me for the last 4 or 5 months every Wednesday. And I appreciate that. It didn't have to do that, and I appreciate it because you already know what he does for the show. So yes, I'm absolutely with it. Shout out to you. And one more thing, if you watching Let's Talk Football, you know one of my guys, Tanner Hughes, always comments, always joins the show. Shout out to him and his beautiful wife, Autumn. Welcome their new baby girl, Laura Jane.
Congratulations.
There you go.
7 pounds, 4 ounces. He's got 2 girls. Right. He's got 2 girls now. Hey, it's 3 against 1 right now. He's outnumbered. He's outnumbered, man.
How about that?
Hey, so pray for him. Hey, shout him out. I'm so
Pray
happy
for him
to
is
hear
right.
that. Right.
Way to go, Tanner.
Blessings,
congratulations to you and the wife.
Blessings and congratulations.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So shout him out, yo, and appreciate all of you that are tuning in and watching us right now. And as we go ahead and get on into it, listen, hey, unless you've been under a rock, you know the biggest, the most blockbuster news that doesn't have anything to do with Aaron Rodgers. Julio Jones gets traded. I know I said it again. That's twice. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on Aaron Rodgers watch. That's 3 times. We're trying not to say his name, but he keeps coming up in each one of our shows.
Because we're waiting.
Beetlejuice.
Right?
You say it 3 times, he appears.
Right? He's gonna show up. But look, this is what he wanted. No, stop. He's not gonna do that.
Let's go. Julio Jones.
Julio, right?
Julio Jones.
So he gets traded to the Tennessee Titans. I can't believe it. Anthony Handy, I know you're watching. You'll be commenting soon. Nick, what was the deal, man? The trade.
Well, apparently Julio Jones goes to the Titans for a 2nd round this year. I think it's a 4th round next year, which is kind of interesting. I think we'll get into that in a minute. And then on the reverse side, obviously they get Julio Jones. Atlanta gets the picks. I'm losing my mind here today. Don't mind me. Right. For Julio Jones, they get the 2nd and 4th pick. And then Tennessee also gets a 6th round pick.
Yeah,
I believe it is as part of the deal. So you get a receiver and a 6th round pick. So there you go. This is really one of those things where I think for me, because I think ever since they blew the Super Bowl a couple of years back, Atlanta had a lot of it just seemed like the team lost their way. They lost their mojo. They lost their desire, their drive to. So I think Julio, as far as, and I thought Matt Ryan should have been traded too, to be honest with you, to give them both kind of a fresh. But yeah, I mean, Julio gets a chance now to prove himself again, I think, because the last few years, with injury and everything, he hasn't really been the Julio Jones of old. And so again, it does make you wonder because people were like, well, what are they going to get for Julio? What's he going to command? And for a guy who for a few years was, a number 1 receiver in Atlanta, you get a 2nd and a 4th round pick. So, some people say, well, that's good. You got what you got for him. But really, for a guy who's supposed to be a top-notch receiver, you get a 2nd and a 4th round only. So, it is a wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, because this guy, we've been discussing this. Which Julio are we getting? Are we getting the older Julio that's been injured? Or are we getting this Julio that we've all considered and is considered all across the league as one of the top tier receivers in the game?
Receivers, yeah.
But again,
you're right.
This is a different age. It's a different time. And I gotta agree with exactly what you said, Nick. You have to, there's no other way to get past that Super Bowl without imploding the team. You got to take all of the people that were in that game and you got to get them elsewhere. Matt Ryan's the last piece. You know what I mean? Because they can't do it without. They can't.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to come back from something like that, and they proved that they couldn't. Because you see the few years after that Super Bowl, they've struggled mightily.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, come on, they picked 4th this year. Really?
Yeah.
2 years removed from a Super Bowl, and now you've got the 4th pick in the draft. Like that should tell you something, folks. So yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
I don't blame Julio for going when it came up. He was like, "Don't worry, trade me or whatever," right? And I think Tennessee might be the team that maybe revitalizes that old Julio we haven't seen in a while, right? Because he's got support, right? It's not gonna be like everything's got to go to Julio. So I feel like Tennessee has a chance to fool people, right? To maybe use Julio as be like, oh, they're gonna throw it to him.
Right, a decoy.
And not, right? And so I feel like Tennessee has a shot of making some really fun and interesting plays during the regular season to get people to bite, right? To be like, oh, they just signed Julio, right? They're gonna throw it to him.
But like you said, Delilah, like you said off camera, They can have Julio, and as we already know, they have AJ.
Right.
But who's getting the ball?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the thing. And
some running back, some guy,
right?
And
some big guy.
And then, but see, here's the thing too, right? They're like, oh, now Derrick Henry has help, right? Now, like, you know, we saw that he was like the number one, right? You know, running back, but they didn't go anywhere, right? And so I think he's going to be happy to have that decoy. He's going to be happy to have that distraction because he's still going to run for crazy yards, but now not everything is on him, right? Now they're like, okay, now we can actually pass the ball. You know, we could throw it, right? Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, me every second. And so I think that this is a chance for the offensive coordinator, which, sorry, I don't know who that is. But, you know, this is a chance for that offensive coordinator to have some fun and have people guessing every game. You know, is he going to pass it to AJ? Is he going to pass it to Julio now? Or is he just going to go to Derrick, right? So I think that this is going to be some fun football for Tennessee. I think that it opens more possibilities for them. And I think that they can capitalize on everybody's going to want to protect Julio, right? And go, hey, over here. And then maybe they'll pass to AJ. Or maybe they're going to be like, oh, they're not passing Julio because he's old. Yeah, he's not the same Julio. Or it might be even the opposite, right? It's going to be doubters going like, oh, Julio doesn't play like he used to anymore.
Exactly. And see, that's the thing.
And so
it's a three-headed monster there.
Yeah, I think that's going to give them, I feel like Tennessee's going to be in a good spot. I don't know if that means they'll go, like, I don't know how far they'll go, but I feel like they're going to have some fun football. I think that's what I'm saying. Like, I think there's going to be some exciting games coming out of Tennessee, no matter who they play. And listen, if you're playing Tennessee, be careful because they're gonna mess with you, right? They're gonna good luck covering those plays because it could go so many different ways now.
Exactly. They're a threat. They're a threat. Definitely a potential contender. Somebody that's been to the playoffs last 2 years, but they're a potential contender. But on the flip side, and Nick, you've talked about this a lot, how they didn't have the money to sign their number 4 draft pick, Kyle Pitts, and they had to free up money. What does this say for Atlanta right now? Is this opening the door? Like, what's up?
Opening the door to, I don't know what though, because when you look at Atlanta as a whole, yes, that's great. You picked up a kid who's supposed to be a monster tight end, but can basically plays like a receiver. So you've got one weapon in a rookie, but you know, you gotta, what do they have otherwise? Like, what are they working with down there? You know, they lost in the last few years, they've lost all their running backs to free agency and then cutting them. You know, Ito Smith is gone. You lost Devontae Freeman over the last few years. You know, everybody's left them. They had, and what's his name went there and didn't really do much.
Yeah, they had
Gurley was there, and he struggled mightily. And now he's gone. Like, he's a free agent too. So, you know, you wonder what Atlanta is thinking. What are they going to try to do now? Like, what do you do? Like, Matt Ryan is really on the back end of his career, no matter which way you slice it. He's definitely, you know, his best years are behind him.
I think this is his last season. I think this is his last season, to be honest.
You know, right. Like, what did you, like, early on, I thought they'd go for a quarterback. And as it became apparent that they weren't, and you went, oh, they're going to take Kyle Pitts. And sure enough, they did. And then you go, okay, that's great. But then what else are you doing? Like, what else is happening here? So I think, you know, Atlanta, I don't see them finishing any better than they finished last year.
I don't either.
Like, especially in the NFC. The NFC is going to be tough this year. Just look at the NFC West alone.
For the
just
first
right there
time,
with those 4 teams beating up on each other all year. You know what I mean?
For the first time in a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. At the NFC, yeah. So I think Atlanta's going to struggle. I'd be very honest with you. That's just my opinion, and I'll be interested to see how they come out fighting. But I think Atlanta struggles mightily this year. Yeah.
I think they are too. I really do.
Yeah,
rebuilding is definitely the thing. Rebuilding is definitely what they're doing.
Yeah,
they are.
For sure.
And I have to also talk about Ridley because a lot of people said, well, if Julio goes, Ridley, they still have Ridley. He's dealing though with, he just had minor foot surgery recently, so he's probably not going to be at minicamp or any of that. But he's one of those players that get him in preseason, he'll be fine, get his legs under him, that type of stuff. But with that being said, I mean, is there now going to be a void left, Delilah? Like, is there going to be a void left that Julio's not there? Like, is that going to be a big major issue?
I think it is. I know. I think I see what they were thinking is just kind of how Nick said is that it doesn't mean that Kyle Pitts will play tight end, right? They might put him in there as a receiver every so often, but I do agree with him. I really don't see them finishing better than last season. I really don't. I feel like they're going to have a very similar win and loss ratio. Again, we saw that Matt Ryan made it for weeks as a top 5 passer, right? But it didn't get them anywhere. And so, and I really do think this is his last season, or he might do like other aging quarterbacks have done. He might go somewhere else next season just to kind of finish and see if he could do something. But Atlanta, I don't know. But I'm also surprised with Nick. I'm surprised that they didn't go for a backup quarterback. Honestly, I know they have a backup, but tell me, who is it?
Right.
Who's their backup?
That's a good question.
And that's exactly, and that's the point, right? That's exactly the point. It's like
Handy. Who's the backup, Handy?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Anthony. Who's their backup?
Yeah.
Who's Malcolm's backup?
Look, I'm not hating on Atlanta that way. It's just like the logistic and the reality, right? It's how far can they possibly go when that's their number one pick was Kyle Pitts? Yes,
right.
We know he's one of the best tight ends ever, but is that going to be the difference maker for them? When, as I agree with Nick, for the first time in a long time, the NFC used to be a joke, right? People used to laugh like, ha, ha, ha.
Yep.
They ain't nothing. They don't win. This season, all of the divisions, like if you look at all the divisions in the NFC, they all stacked up except for Atlanta. Like, I'm sorry, they didn't do too much during like the trades. They didn't do too much with free agency. But almost every other team in the NFC made really bold choices. Whether you agree with those moves or not, they took chances, right? They're like, we're going to go all in, right? They took advantage of the free agency. They signed a bunch of people. They took advantage of trades. They went into the draft and they selected pieces that will support where they're going.
Where necessary. And it made them better. Right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
And so I think that the NFC this upcoming season, is gonna be tough. Like it really is. Like who's gonna get those final wild card spots? I think it's gonna be crazy. I really do. I do think that people are right. I think that a lot of those last spots are gonna go to game 17, right? The 17th week.
I can see it. But all in all, Atlanta probably will not be in one of those spots.
I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening.
They're struggling. They're rebuilding. They need to get, like we talked about, they need to get that curse of 28-3 off their backs.
Yeah, they do.
But I got to shout out my guy, Julio. We talk about him being hurt. He missed a total of 25 games when he was with Atlanta. In that period of time, Atlanta is 9-16 with him not on the field. That includes these last couple of years when he was hurt and this and that. Right. He is still a legitimate force, even if just by name alone. And so that decoy, like we've both mentioned, that decoy could prove very big. And it could work both ways because it might not just be Julio that's the decoy. It might also be A.J. Brown. It might also be Derrick Henry. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
So that's something. That's definitely something. So of the better of the two, Nick, I think we can agree the Titans kind of won this one on paper.
Well, yeah. For now, yes. For now, you give it to the Titans, and you see what happens. What Julio comes out, and how hard do they get him? Yeah, yo. Look, he decided to join us.
We always, I know that people say any given Sunday, but we know that there's more than Sundays now. But still, right, that's the term, right? And so,
any given Sunday.
In
a world where football is played.
Exactly. We really don't know how these teams will pan out until the actual games start, right?
Yep. That's why we always look forward to seeing.
Right.
Anthony, what do you think, Anthony? Yeah. What is your record? We do not believe in it. We think you're kind of imploding. You're running away from 28-3, but you hit the nail on the head where you said They got to get Matt Ryan out. They got to get, because he's definitely in his head from all that stuff. You know?
Yep.
We talked about Calvin Ridley having foot surgery. What are you thinking, man? Definitely comment in here and talk to us. If you're just joining us, Julio Jones gets traded to the Tennessee Titans. All right, the Falcons get a second pick in 2022, a fourth pick in 2023, and the Titans receive Julio and a sixth-round pick in 2023. So, guys, I mean, this is this is crazy. It's a huge trade. It's the first major domino to fall after the July 1st deal. But I mean, there's a lot going on. And you know, I'm gonna go ahead and move into this. Minicamp is here as well.
Minicamp.
You know, Minicamp's here, and we talk about all the different things that are going on. A lot of this that we're seeing is subjective. A lot of it is just talk and speculation because, hey, it's the summer. We all can't wait for it to get back. But right now, it's just everything's on paper.
You need something to talk about, right?
Well, we're right. So, I mean, actually, matter of fact, let me hit up. Anthony said, I think Atlanta needs to dump off Ryan and his salary weight. Yep. And get a young quarterback. There was too many available, and Atlanta had a high pick. I agree.
Correct.
I looked up their backup is A.J. McCarron.
Is it really?
Yeah. So there's a very steep drop after Matt Ryan.
You know.
A.J. McCarron, I mean, hey.
A good college quarterback, but good college quarterback, but he's backing up Matt Ryan. Yeah.
Right.
I gotta say that's not good. Right.
Like, I mean, it doesn't strike fear in the hearts of their opponents, but whatever.
If Matt Ryan goes down, and let's hope he doesn't again, don't hate on him or the team, that's not good.
Like,
that's just like what? Who? Right? Or it's like who?
It doesn't strike fear into anybody's hearts, but at this point, neither does Matt Ryan. So
exactly.
I mean,
so there you go.
But I would rather have Matt Ryan passing, who was again a top 5 passer last season, than McLaren, who no one knows. And if you do know him, again, apologies. Listen, I love football, but I didn't really follow college football unless it came to the draft and I needed to see what teams were choosing or whatnot.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I have no idea who this guy is. I'm gonna be honest, and I know
he's a backup. That's all we need to know.
That's all you need to know.
I'm not the only one. I'm pretty sure that there are tons of fans out there who are like, who? Right? They have no idea who this guy is. Like, so I don't know what Atlanta's thinking.
A.J. McCarron.
They really did need a quarterback this season, and they had so many to choose from. Even in the lower rounds. Even in the lower rounds, they were saying
it's not going to make that big of a difference if McCarron comes in. They had opportunities. Shout out to Shirtless Wonder. Talking about y'all crazy. The issue is and was never Matt Ryan.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I never said that.
I don't agree with after the Super Bowl. I don't agree with that. I think after the Super Bowl, he's been in his head. He can still get the job done.
He does.
Kirk Cousins.
Right.
So,
Kirk
you know what
Cousins.
I mean?
Okay, let me tell you. I'm going to go out here and say, if I had to choose between Matt Ryan and Kirk Cousins, I'll pick Matt Ryan every day, all day.
Right.
all day, every day. I will choose Matt Ryan.
Because
I'm going to give that guy the credit that for weeks on end until they got kind of towards, the closing, getting to the playoffs, he always wound up on that top 5 passing, right? And so, he still got that arm. But again, is he going to make it all the way when all Atlanta gave him was Kyle Pitts?
Right. They didn't help him. The article said it best. The front office has let the team go to the pot, running off fumes, and we went to the Super Bowl, and we can get back there. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're hoping to recapture what they had that 1 year, but just the way that game ended is
they needed to capture it that year, and they didn't. That's what happened.
Right. That's exactly what happened. That's something that definitely puts the franchise back. I feel for you.
Oh, it does. Right. You feel bad for him, but that's what happened.
Yeah. Absolutely feel for you. So, look, we're going to go ahead and move on. Delilah, if you're ready, we're going to go ahead and go to the longest running segment on the Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. Diversity with Delilah.
Hey.
Let's go.
All
And
right.
today, being it's Pride Month, we will be covering Michael Sam's.
What is Sam?
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
So Michael Sam made headlines a few years ago because he was one of the first openly gay NFL players to play for NFL, but also he kissed his fiance right live on TV. He's not the first gay NFL player. So again, I
No.
know he's not, but he's the first out and proud NFL player.
Mm-hmm.
From years past, a lot of the older players were closeted for various reasons, right? We already know kind of why, like the whole like football, machismo, all that stuff, right? We kind of, but he was out and proud before he was selected. So he came out in college, right? And so like he really was selected. And so I just wanted to make sure that as we're talking about diversity, right? We're talking again, making sure that, and again, I know that it's like, oh, it's Pride Month, and I'm not trying to token him. I'm going to go out there and say that. But I didn't want to pass this opportunity because he did rattle a lot of people.
Yes.
You know, he rattled a lot of people. You have to understand, this man was born and raised in Texas, in a small town in Texas.
I know that.
Okay, and then he went to school in Mizzou, right? He went to Mizzou, which is in Missouri. Again, a very conservative, right? So again, and not just as an openly gay man, openly gay black man, right? Which that already ends. If anybody knows about intersectionality, we know that, you know, if you are in the LGBTQ plus society, but you're also black, there's a lot more on top of you, right? Because you're dealing not just with homophobia, you're also dealing with racism, right? And so again, it's a double-edged sword. And so the fact that he, you know, he was willing to take that chance and be honest about who he was, I feel like, you know, we need to respect that. All right, so again, he attended high school in Hitchcock, Texas, right? Which again, tiny place.
Hitchcock.
Right, so you know, he began traveling with the school's varsity football team while he was an 8th grader. Okay, so before he went to high school, this is, you know, he was the water boy.
Yeah.
So he was a water boy. Yeah, I know, right? So he was a water boy.
H2O.
And then I know, right? We can't help it, right? That we have to go there. We have to, right? But then, you know, finally, when he went to high school, he became a member of the team as a defensive end and offensive tackle. He earned in high school the first team all-district honors as a defensive lineman in all 4 years that he was in high school. And as an offensive lineman in his junior and senior year. So this kid could play, right? Sam was considered a 2-star college football recruit by Rivals.com. You know, the person that website kind of totals like when recruits are coming up. So they really assumed that he was going to go to all these places, but as we know, he didn't do great in the combine, so that kind of dropped his numbers, right? So, so even though they expected him to go higher, but unfortunately, because he didn't do great in the combine, that kind of dropped his, you know, his grade. So that's kind of what happened with Sam in that regards. But even with that, like, you know, he was getting recruited before the draft by a bunch of like big time universities. He wanted to go to Texas A&M, but they didn't offer him a scholarship. And so he ended up going to the University of Missouri, known as Mizzou. And so that's where he went for college football. He was there from 2009 to 2013. He played for the Tigers, competing in the Big 12 Conference. You know, he redshirted in his first year at Missouri. He recorded 3.5 quarterback sacks, 24 tackles, including 7 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 1 interception. So basically, this kid came to college and was ready to play, right? In his sophomore year, Sam intercepted a pass against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Also, in 2012, Mizzou officially transferred into the SEC, right? The Southeastern Conference. And so that's when they finally became part of the SEC, was in 2012. Again, he went on to record a bunch of stuff, half sacks while starting in 9 of the 10 games. So he always got at least half a sack, if not a full sack, while he was there. So again, as a senior in 2013, because we're thinking about seniors, right? Because that's when the drafts kind of start looking at you. He recorded 12 quarterback sacks, 19 tackles. He led the SEC in both categories and tied Missouri's single-season record for sacks. He was named the SEC Defensive Player of the Week in 2 consecutive weeks after recording 3 sacks apiece in games against Arkansas and Vanderbilt. After the season, he was named co-defensive. Sorry about that. There's motorcycles coming by. So in 2012, he was co-defensive player of the year with C.J. Mosley of the University of Alabama.
C.J. Mosley,
yeah. So he did get defensive player of the year, even if it was tied still. So as I was saying, he really was expected to go in the 3rd or 4th round pick. So not first rounder, right? But still, they expect him to go higher because of all of the stuff that he did in college. But again, his combine wasn't great. So the St. Louis Rams drafted Sam in the 7th round. Okay, so they drafted him in the 7th round, and he became the first publicly gay player to be drafted into the NFL.
Yeah.
The St. Louis Rams jerseys bearing his name became the 2nd best-selling rookie jerseys at the NFL's website, behind Cleveland Browns quarterback, Heisman winner at the time, Johnny Football.
Yeah. Johnny Football.
Yeah, he was second
that guy.
He was second.
Yeah,
he was second to. Yeah, his jersey's still second to that dude, right? And so so again, really important, right? Representation. We talk about that a lot, right? And so his jerseys, even as a rookie, before they even knew he was going to get a spot, was second behind Johnny Manziel, right? Johnny Football. But again, he went and he did kind of the preseasons, but he was not selected to stay with the team. So his position was waived. Unfortunately, and that's when he went on to play for the Canadian Football League, because he still obviously wanted to play football. And so he did not play a full season, unfortunately. He only did a few preseason games, and he was waived. So he went on to the Canadian Football League in 2014. But he didn't get to play a full season there either, because he was dealing with a lot of mental health issues. And so he decided that for his own mental health, that was better for him not to continue to pursue football. And so he retired officially, and now he just goes around as a spokesman, as an author, as a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
And so that's basically kind of what he does now. He supports a lot of the LGBTQ youth, right, to make sure that they, especially when it comes to sports, to feel more comfortable being themselves. He did win, right, the Arthur Ashe Courage Award at the ESPYs of 2014.
Nice.
And so, again, people do, even though he didn't get to play as much in the NFL as he should have. But again, the mental health thing isn't new, right? We know it's come up a lot, right? The most famous is Naomi Osaka, as you know. She decided to pull out of the French Open and not deal with the press, because she felt like her mental health was more important. And so Michael Sam kind of went the same way. He felt like for himself, it was better for him to focus on himself as a person, continue to heal and grow, and do good works in that situation. So again, I know he didn't play a regular football season, but still I feel like he needs recognition, because that is going to allow more players to be more comfortable with who they are, and and become part of the NFL being who they are without having to hide anything, and be okay with that. So kids, if you're out there, again, Be who you are. Don't be afraid. I know that sometimes, depending where you are, you might not have the best support opportunities, but you know, a lot of us love you, we support you, and we want you to make it out of this. Okay. So again, Michael Sam, thank you for being a role model for a lot of boys and girls everywhere. And again, like, be comfortable in your skin.
Absolutely. Shout out to Michael Sams. That definitely was a big movement, a big situation at the time, big opportunity for him. And the big thing about it that made it so you knew it wasn't just like, oh, we're just putting somebody in the spot. We just need somebody to be the poster child.
He had
Michael
the numbers.
He was beast.
He
was a monster. You know what I mean?
Numbers.
Like you said, co-defensive player of the year. Nick?
So that does beg the question, though, and I know that, you know, a lot of people, it's not a subject that everybody's comfortable talking about, but you've got to imagine that a guy like that who slips all the way to the 7th round, and to say that it didn't have anything to do with his sexuality,
right?
In a macho dominated NFL, I know, you know, Ab obviously had an objection. You know, he was saying that, but it's true. Like, you can't tell me that somebody with that kind of talent and somebody who was scouted heavily like that, you know, you say, oh, the combine is. Okay, let's be honest. If you have your eye on somebody, the combine doesn't do jack for you anyway.
I agree.
Who cares if the guy can jump 40 feet in the air? Nobody cares about that.
Right.
Sure, some people might, but like, you know, there's a lot there, and obviously you can't prove anything, and not on a doubt, whatever.
I agree.
But again, you know, he was the 100%. First guy to openly admit that he was gay. He was the first guy to openly say, "I'm proud of who I am. This is who I am."
Kissed his
you know,
fiance.
and he well,
that's the other thing, Nick. That was huge.
Well, sure it was.
When he was selected,
he kissed them, and that.
Well, yeah. That was his other half. That's his. You know, that's who he's with.
You do.
That's what you do, right? You kiss your other half, don't you? Like just because it happened to be another guy doesn't mean that was any less for him.
I get it, and I'm not. Look, I am not like you said last week.
I know you're not.
I'm not.
No, we know
but it was the optics, though. A lot, because I remember.
Of course it was. Come on.
Yeah, I remember watching that, and I remember kind of being taken aback, like. But then I'm like, why am I feeling some type of like?
It's something you're not used to seeing, but it does. You know, I mean,
And you know, there's a lot of people that were just kind of just.
Exactly.
Like, what are we? You know,
he's coming from a conservative state, conservative
Texas.
College.
Yeah.
Like he literally went to Mizzou, who fought for a long time, as we know, to keep a certain mascot.
You know the old joke. There's only two things with horns in Texas. So.
Again,
exactly. Yes, exactly. So
we don't.
That's what I'm saying.
He never shared what the mental health issues were and why he
decided.
That's
the thing.
And we probably have an idea of what the issues were that he was struggling with, but we don't want to make.
You could probably guess, but you don't want to.
And,
you don't want to speculate, but yeah.
And this is why we need to make sure when we're talking about the NFL and the strides that they're making with women, with Black and Latinx and other people of color, and making sure that they're being hired. I think this is another focus area that they really need to work on. Now I know that we had an out lesbian coach, right, who played for the 49ers, which, by the way, she was rehired by the NFL, but we'll talk about that next time. So, again, I feel like that's an area that the NFL needs to work on, is your LGBTQ plus connections. So, if you're out there, NFL, or really, this is where you need to start bridging that gap. Yep. We need to make sure that if you're talking about inclusion and equity and you're saying like, oh, I want to be about it, it needs to be everyone.
Yeah.
And it needs to be a safe space for everyone.
Yep.
People need to be comfortable being themselves. The fact that a lot of times you spent time defending abusers for decades, basically since your inception, you have protected abusers.
Yeah.
Across the board, abusers and sexual assaulters. I think it's time for you to you really want to be taken as, oh, I'm a woke organization now, then you need to do better for your LGBTQ plus viewers. You need to do better so that people feel comfortable being themselves in their skin. and that they can't kiss their significant other on camera because that's a person they love without that affecting their playability.
Right.
So
You're absolutely right.
Do better, be better, and really make sure you're putting your money where your mouth is and making sure that these kids that you're trying to like support and make sure they go into sports, that they don't feel uncomfortable being who they are.
Exactly. And just like Anthony's saying, you know, I don't think he was ready for the level of scrutiny that was going to undergo once he made that revelation.
I agree.
And it wore on him heavily.
I agree.
And,
I think so.
Know, I mean,
I agree with you, Anthony. I think exactly. Yeah.
And see, and this is kind of what I was kind of leaning towards earlier when I was thinking about this, is that I remember the story. You remember the story about Richie Incognito, that offensive lineman for the Dolphins, and how he picked on the other guy, and the other guy was more just soft spoken. You know what I mean? And that, you know, like what Anthony says is right. You know, they came after him when he was that open with it. He became a target, not only a rookie target, but just a target in general.
In general,
you know what I mean. So
for sure.
And as I was saying, I'm gonna put it out there again. He's not just gay; he's a gay black man.
Right.
So again, like that's a
and
whole,
look, and not to go too deep in there, but his boyfriend at the time was a white man,
right? And
it was an interracial kiss on national television.
So again, there's a lot going on there, right? There's a lot going on.
Right. It was a lot to take in at one time. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So, but look, hey. Again, this is Pride Month. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Delilah, on this week's episode of Diversity with Delilah Michael Sams. And I absolutely love that because, like you said, it's great to highlight these parts because they are so open. They're able to be free to actually come out and speak their piece and tell about themselves. But there's a lot of players that if you have to really do your research on to find out that, you know, they lived some different lifestyles. They weren't open with it at the time. I go back, I think of Jackie Smith, our tight end for Washington in the 70s. He was a closeted gay man. Some of the guys on the team knew, and they protected his secrets.
Interesting you said that because he did come up when I was doing my research.
Yeah.
And listen, again, if you are in the closet, I understand why you are. You come out at your own time or don't. Yeah. But he was gay, but he kept that to himself. You're completely right.
Yeah.
100%.
So, thank you for that. With that being Pride Week, that definitely is perfect and applicable. But like we said before, minicamp has started. Nick, you touched on this a little bit last week. We talked about Chicago. We talked about a lot of your guys coming into camp doing it. I got to say, Nick, I sent you a video earlier of Mr. Matt Nagy tossing a touchdown pass.
Right.
You might have your quarterback, man. He might need to be a quarterback and not a coach.
He needs to focus on play calling and not throwing. That's what he needs to focus on.
He threw a dive, man. It was a nice
I saw it. It was a nice pass, but he played quarterback. He played quarterback. It's fine.
We can't forget that he did play football.
Well, that's what I said. Why do you think everybody was so excited when we hired him? Right? He was supposed to be the quarterback whisperer. This guy was supposed to come in and revolutionize our offense, and he didn't do jack crap. So
didn't do it.
Let's see what he's got now with Big Red and Rookie Fields. So we'll see.
Big Red. Yo, hey, shout out to him. And shout out to all of us, man. All of our teams are definitely going out there and playing. I've been watching Washington. You know,
they're having a good time. It looks like they're having a good time.
Oh yeah, they're having a great time in Washington. Yeah. Shout out to Washington Football Weekly, Wednesday night.
Sure. Yes.
They're having a great time. Part of it is the new culture in there. We talk about it all the time. Ron Rivera is definitely doing big things. He's got a close knit. I mean, you guys know he was
Chico,
your coach. He was my guy. He was your guy. You know, he has a close.
I like Ron Rivera. Yeah.
Close knit community, brings his team together. We just did something to kind of reach out to the fans where they did their little first day of school.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
exactly.
I absolutely love that. I love that.
Yeah, that was good.
You know, you see Fitz and everything. My only issue with Fitzpatrick is he need to go ahead and get them cicadas out his beard. I can't do that.
That was hilarious. Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah, they got to land somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Justin Fields over here enjoying deep dish. It's all good.
So, hey, but this right now, we talk about OTAs and how some of the guys didn't show up for OTAs. Right now, it is mandatory. Now is when everybody's coming in, everybody's getting to practice and getting to know each other, the camaraderie. But Nick, there are some notable absentees.
I'm sorry. Was there some guy up north who's not around? Something
Can
like
I'll take
some guy like that? Right? There's some dude.
I'll take this because I know Nick doesn't want to talk about it anymore. But
What? I know. Go ahead, Delilah. You talk anyways, girl.
Listen,
Aaron Rodgers.
the fact is that one, we do have Green Bay fans that watch us, not just Wendy.
So I feel so horrible for them. Oh, it's terrible.
Listen, here's why I'm bringing him up is that Jordan Love said he's ready. All right, listen, Green Bay.
Yep.
He said it. He put it out there. He said, "I'm ready to go."
And you know what? Good for him. Good for him.
Is right.
Give him the chance. Seriously, like one. You should already be comfortable with the fact that Green Bay has a really solid history of back-to-back winning quarterbacks. So you should be comfortable with Aaron Rodgers sitting his selfish ass out.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And putting Jordan Love and give the kid a chance. That's why he was drafted. Give the rookie a chance.
Which would be nice.
All right, give him a chance.
Aaron Rodgers is just playing right now.
Are you gonna be like, you know? Or are you gonna? Yeah, see, look at it. Don't give him a chance. Well, because he's a Chicago fan, so we kind of want some losses. Anyway, so like, listen, give him a chance. Put him out there.
Yeah,
seriously,
I agree.
Like, have him start that first week.
Why not?
If Aaron Rodgers, who was supposed to be
he's gonna start because Rodgers ain't coming back. What is everybody talking about? Rodgers ain't going back this year. You do know. Don't try to play that. He is not coming. Everybody over here trying to tiptoe around the subject. Like, bro, come on. Now he's losing money, and you know he doesn't really need the money.
No,
but whatever, that's fine. That's his business. But come on, he's getting fined now for missing mandatory, these OTAs and these minicamps. So
wait, what's the new?
He doesn't care. He said that. I mean, come on. Like you said, this guy's never on Twitter. All of a sudden, he's showing us his vacation pictures. He's out there with Miles Teller and his girlfriend and Shailene Woodley and
Jordan Love should be given a chance.
Right, because Green Bay Packer fans don't want to accept the fact that their quarterback has been a selfish little during this whole thing.
And not just that, I'm like, do you want to be known as the team that doesn't want a black quarterback?
No, it's not. I don't even think it's that. I get your point.
No, I know. No,
but I don't even think it's that.
It's not.
It is a true statement. They haven't had one.
He is a black quarterback, right? But
it's not. I didn't say it was that. However,
but
I get it. Like
Green Bay was not too
optics, right? Optics. Put the kid out there,
like
right?
I said,
Put the kid
the whole point is this was screwed up from the beginning, as we've talked about multiple times, and yet here we go again talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. Thank you, Nick. Move on. Look, Whitney, we gave you a little bit of time on Aaron Rodgers.
Right, that's like the sixth time tonight we mentioned his name.
It is.
I'm not playing. Aaron Rodgers ain't coming.
Listen,
Jordan Love, starting quarterback, week one.
Wendy, shift your loyalty to your future quarterback.
That's right.
Yeah. Yo,
let Mr. Jeopardy host go do whatever he does, and you guys concentrate on football.
Let him enjoy himself outside football.
Let him go.
So he is not, even though we spent all this daggone time on him, he's not the only.
Minutes, but let's go.
2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes. Look, but he's not the only guy that's missing mandatory minicamp. Chandler Jones from Arizona still hasn't shown up. Stephon Diggs from Buffalo, and he's got high expectations this year.
I've got to imagine those guys have reasons, or have at least talked to their coaches as to why they're not there.
Well, so now the two of them do not. They were there at OTAs, but they're not there now. And there are some teams like San Francisco, I know, is one of them that's canceling some of their mini camp just because they get rest and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then you have people like Cam Newton's out because he injured his hand the other day. Nick Bosa's out.
Putting on one of his hats?
I mean,
those things are huge, dude. I would hurt myself too if I tried to put that on my head every week.
He need to stop with that daggone wardrobe thing, man.
Oh,
I need you to focus on playing,
right?
And not on the daggone these little.
If you want to be, right? If you want to be on, Fashion Week, go to France, bro. Like, it's time to play football.
Listen,
They-
he
you
makes
know.
he makes me happy one night because I want to be like, what outfit he's gonna wear?
What's
Like,
he gonna do? Right.
Yes,
I'm
I
not
get all
even
that,
kidding.
but it's time to play football.
I look
Yes.
forward
This
to it.
isn't Milan. This isn't France. This
Right.
isn't
I
New
don't
York
need
and
to be-
on
I don't need to
Fashion
be
Week. Let's
focused on
go.
his after the
Right.
game stuff, right? Like,
I mean, right. If the only thing you're talking about Cam Newton is his outfit, that he's not doing something right, is all I'm
right,
saying.
he's doing it.
Get
Look,
back to the
look.
grind and let's get it on. Right.
But okay, but Nick, my question to you though, Nick, is
No.
should we be worried? Should we be worried? Like some of these guys, like we talked about Bosa, we talked about Cam Newton.
No.
There's minor injuries and they're sitting out. But you
No.
have the Stephon Diggs, you have the Chandler Jones. Are these anybody that we should really be worried that they're not here, or
No,
is
I don't think so. You've
I
got
think-
remember,
I
you've
think
got
Nick's-
people
I
who
think
get
Nick's
injured, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Nick's
think
right.
you
I
have
think-
to take it as. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Delilah. What were you saying?
No, I think I agree with Nick. I feel like if they would have pissed off the organizations, I feel like that shit would have been leaked already. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people were like, "Oh, this guy didn't show up," but I have a feeling like, don't worry about Stephon Diggs. I'm pretty sure whatever's going on, he got an excuse, and they're like, whatever. I don't see anybody worrying about these guys who are missing some.
The only time I would worry is if training camp starts and they're still not there. Then you go, "Oh, what's going on?"
Exactly.
But everybody,
But right now,
some people do miss these. They ask their team if they can miss these because they have their own workout regimen or this and that, whatever the deal is.
Exactly.
But I like I said, I'm not worried about anyone.
No.
Wait, when training camp starts, as long as everybody's in training camp when they're ready to go in July, that's what that's when it's time to go. That's what you worry about. Working out in June is good, and I hope everybody's healthy. But like I said, when training camp starts, that's when you want everybody there.
Exactly.
And you hope that everybody's there, ready to play, ready to get it on. Let's do this. Jordan Love for quarterback. Yes.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do this. We gotta give
what are you
her.
doing?
We gotta give her some time.
Who are we giving time to?
We got our diehard Green Bay Packers fan with us. She wants to speak her piece.
Okay,
Wendy,
let her speak her.
You supported us all these years. We gotta welcome you to the show.
You gonna get me now? That's a beautiful ceiling fan you have.
There, Wendy. Yes.
Hold on!
Oh, there she is.
I just dropped my hat.
What's up now, Wendy?
Y'all want to talk about my team now, huh, guys? Y'all killed my hat down,
I think you're minus a quarterback.
What the heck? How do I get back on?
You're on here.
Well, I can't see y'all.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. You're good.
I know, but I can't see you guys.
That's weird.
Well,
Stupid man.
we can hear you and we hear you loud and clear.
Green Bay has a history of training and getting quarterbacks ready. So even if Aaron doesn't come back, you should be comfortable with Jordan Love going in there.
Hold on.
We'll let you get that. And then we'll make it back in when you got it, okay?
Oh,
yeah,
little technical difficulty with Wendy there.
It's okay, Wendy. But again, I'm sorry I broke your heart. But again, I was giving you some props. Your team has a good history of training quarterbacks. So I was saying give Jordan Love some love.
Right. Here we go. Let's see.
Hi, guys. I got you. Delilah, you hurt my feelings when you talk about my Aaron Rodgers.
Come on. Give Jordan Love some
You broke my heart. Number one right there, baby. Number one. I finally got on here.
So what is this Jordan Love?
The what?
If it's Jordan Love, are you okay?
No, Lonnie's got David still in there and Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams the beast now. You know he's the beast. Ah, darn it. Hold on a minute. This stupid mouse don't want to stay put. I'm gonna have to shoot the mouse. Leave Delilah laughing her head off. Look at Delilah. Girl, you were tripping. I'll take Devontae Adams. He's the best one.
Oh, he is.
He's the beast. I think he's the beast in my book.
Yeah. Okay.
And what about your running back? Adam Jones.
I can't wait till my boys beat the Bears and the Lions. The Bears and the Lions in Washington. All three y'all are going down.
Yeah.
You can't wait to see y'all.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Wendy. We'll do a Bears jersey when the Bears win. Don't worry about it.
We'll see who it is.
We're just gonna have to wait and see, huh, guys? Huh?
Yeah, we'll make it work. We'll beat you with Andy Dalton.
I think it'll be fun if it's Justin Fields versus Jordan Love. I'm just saying, it'll be a good game.
Nah.
I also feel like it'll also be a little bit historical, right? We have these two young kids going head to head, seeing what's gonna happen.
Yeah, but you gotta think about it. We got three boys from Wisconsin Badgers already. Hey, Sean, tell me about that one. Tell me about the one that got 420 pounds in it.
Oh, yeah, that old lineman. Who's he blocking for?
Oh yeah.
Is it Aaron Rodgers?
We got one from Clemson. We got one from Clemson too.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying. Come on. You're not gonna show some love for Jordan Love if he's the one going in there.
I'll try my best to love that guy. You know, honest mouth won't stay still. Hold on, let me get my mouth staying still. Crazy, stupid thing. There we go. The better?
Well, listen. Yo, we need you joining. When we have these games, we're gonna bring you back on here and we're gonna go back and
I just can't wait till the game starts. All three of you guys are gonna go down.
we'll see.
Whatever you say, Wendy. Whatever you say.
Delilah, if my boys win, you're gonna have to take a trip to North Carolina and meet face to face.
Oh, you're in North Carolina? I want to go over there.
Where you live at, Delilah? Hey,
You're in Chicago.
you're in Chicago?
I'm in Chicago.
Oh my God, I don't want to take the foot in Chicago. I don't mind Washington, but not Detroit or Chicago. It's hot down here. It's hot down here, for real.
Hot over here too.
It's about 109, about 100 degrees out here. But I went swimming today. I tell you, that water was good.
Amen to that.
Hey, Sean, did you hear about my coach, Coach K?
Yeah.
Now, Nick, you can say something about my Duke stuff, because my coach retired.
We'll say that. We'll bring that up. Shout out to Coach K. He retired after this year.
He's a Chicago boy.
Yeah, I think somebody, your younger guy this place now.
Yeah.
Where'd Delilah go?
We'll see.
She went to find Aaron Rodgers.
You better go find Aaron Rodgers. She better go find you.
We don't let you know.
Sorry about that. What's up?
We'll bring you back next time, right?
Hey, buddy. Right?
Bye, Wendy. Bye, Wendy.
Yeah.
Oh, Wendy.
This won't let me turn my camera on for some reason.
Oh, no, we hear Delilah's voice, but don't see her.
I don't know why it wouldn't let me.
I think Wendy's a little spirited down there, huh? What do you think?
I love it.
Excited.
Excited, right?
Wait. Oh,
there you are.
There you go.
It wasn't working.
Excited.
Sorry about that. I don't know.
There you go. She was excited.
As we know, there's a lot of things going on these particular times.
Wendy, I love that you came on and you were fantastic. That was great.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, I can go down to North Carolina. Unlike a lot of thin-blooded people, I am Caribbean, so I don't mind the humidity at all.
Oh yeah.
I'm an
nice.
island girl. I'm Puerto Rican.
I just don't like it because I'm fat. I sweat and be like,
I
ugh.
love it. It don't bother
Hot-blooded.
me at all. It don't
Shout
bother
out to her.
me
She
at
said,
all.
"I'm not setting foot in
Yeah,
Chicago."
that's what she said. That's what she
Chicago,
said.
Detroit. She ain't doing it.
She said what she said. All good.
Yep.
It's cool. It's
I ain't
cool.
set
Shout out
foot
to
in
her.
Chicago.
Well, listen,
Well,
yo,
good.
so let's go on. Let's go ahead and get to one of our last segments. We do want to talk about this. There was something that was brought up that was top 10 on CBS Sports. It was top 10 wide receiver duos in the
In the
league.
league. Yes.
Some of the notable names on that list was Evans and Godwin of Tampa Bay. You had Julio and AJ of Tennessee, Jefferson and Thielen of Minnesota, Metcalf and Lockett,
Yeah.
Woods and Cup. I think McLaurin and Samuel from Washington were on there.
They were
Robbie
number
Anderson.
10. Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So there's a bunch of
and DJ Moore. Yeah.
DJ Moore, right? So there's a bunch of lists. I think the Cowboys were number 5, so you know it's a messed up list then. But there was a bunch of names up there, and we actually went through this in the group chat who we thought would be. So Nick, I'm going to come to you first. What is your? If I'll give you these 5 because I think with consensus these 5 are probably the top 5 that we've discussed. So what do you think was your top 5 duos, or who's the best duo out there?
Well, okay, so obviously for me, out of this group, I go with Metcalf and Lockett as my number 1. And I will explain why. You have Russell Wilson at quarterback, who has always proven that this man can throw the ball. Now, before Metcalf broke out last year, Tyler Lockett was one of his main receivers. Midway through the season, that switched because Metcalf came on big time and became more of a target than Lockett did. But in the same token, you still had these two gentlemen who still caught passes. I mean, I'd have to look up particular stats, but if I'm not mistaken, you had 2 guys who were pretty close to 1,000 yards each. Each had at least multiple touchdowns. You can't go wrong with 2 guys like that when you have a quarterback like Russell Wilson. Because I wanted to consider that too when looking at this list, like who are the quarterbacks for these teams? Evans and Godwin, we know, have Tom Brady. And everybody knows TB is the man. He's a legendary quarterback. There's no mistaking that. Evans is a tall receiver. He's about 6'3", 6'4". So he's got a huge reach. Godwin, came on again last year or the year before, had a great year, had some injury issues, but came back, helped them win that Super Bowl. So you can never overlook that. But for me, Julio Jones, again, which Julio Jones are we getting? And are we ready to crown A.J. Brown as a number 1 receiver for his team? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we ready to give A.J. Brown that prop and that step up to be like, hey, you're an elite guy now? Jefferson and Thielen. Jefferson came on last year. Thielen, I think, the production was down a little bit, but I think that's because he lost his buddy Diggs to Buffalo. To be out, and Kirk Cousins has struggled at times. So you look at that situation, who's the quarterback there? And Woods and Cup, well, we all know that they get a new quarterback in Sir Matthew of Stafford. So I will really be interested to see how Woods and Cup do this year in comparison to how they did with Goff last year. So that's what I say. Out of these 5 that you mentioned here, my favorite and what I think is the number 1 duo is Metcalf and Lockett. That's what I would go with.
Yeah. Delilah, what you think?
So I think it's a tie for me. Like, again, I do like the Evans and Godwin duo. Like, yeah, they're like, oh, they got but they proved their point, right? I feel like I feel like they earned their status. They really did. Okay, so I'm not gonna hate on that duo, like just because people hate their quarterback. So like, what I'm saying, like, I'm not gonna hate on that. And I think that outside of that, they really proved themselves, right? They really did prove that they can get the job done. But again, I do like Metcalf and Lockett, especially Lockett. Like, I'm a big fan of Lockett. I think he has a lot of talent. But it was nice seeing Metcalf come out and like get more play, right? And really like get out there and be like, hey, it's not just Lockett. Like, you got me, right? And I think this upcoming season, because Seattle took care of protecting, I think that they're gonna show up. I feel like they're gonna go higher on this list now for next year, right? Because they always update these lists, right? Yeah. And I think I think with Wilson getting the protection he needed, and hopefully he's going to have more time to throw the football. I think that, Metcalf and Lockett, they're someone to look for, right? They're dangerous to cover. Like, if you're a team playing them this upcoming season, remember that they're not the Seahawks from last season, right? The reason Wilson finally said, "Fine, I'll stay," is because they gave him the protection, right? They actually said, "All right, cool, whatever. We gotta keep our Super Bowl quarterback
You can
happy."
have it, baby. That's right.
Right, and so they got him the protection he requested, and I think we're gonna see more action from this duo this upcoming season. So anybody playing Seattle, especially if you're going to Seattle, we already know, right? They're called the 12th man, right? We already know they're loud out there. So like
NFC West, baby.
yeah,
NFC
so
West.
anyway, so just be prepared to really have a struggle covering these two guys. All right, like just make sure you have a good game plan, defense teams going in there to play Seattle and trying to cover Metcalf and Lockett. Now that Wilson's gonna have better protection.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I really like Metcalf and Lockett. Nick and you, all three of us have been talking about them all day. A lot of it is what Metcalf did last year. Metcalf was a monster.
Yeah.
He changed things up, and Lockett has already been a beast.
Exactly.
So that duo was definitely solid. But Nick, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that you also do want to think about who the quarterback is, because I can't leave Evans and Godwin out. I don't want to pick them myself personally. If I was going myself, I would go Woods and Kupp, because I've seen what they did with Jared Goff. They had 1,000-yard season with Jared Goff.
Right.
I think Matthew Stafford is a little bit better. An upright, healthy Matthew Stafford, I think, is better.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go off.
And they're very good, right?
So
again, they're in that NFC West. There you go.
That's what it is. But my pairing of the two best receivers, who I think are equally as good and are equally solid, but the quarterback brings me back, is Jefferson and Thielen. I think both of them are monsters by themselves. I think both of them are deep threats. Both of them can go across the middle and possess receivers the whole nine. But the fact that I've been with Kirk, I know what Kirk Cousins does.
Kirk Cousins is their quarterback.
I can't. You know what I mean? So he'll put up the numbers and they'll do it. But yeah, I would go Woods and Kupp. I would go Woods and Kupp. I love Metcalf and Lockett, but I'm worried about that sophomore slump.
No, well, again, and we're gonna find out, aren't we? We're gonna see exactly. That's I do kind of like these things, because they do make you kind of speculate and think about stuff, and kind of you get your stuff going. You're like, no, I can't wait for football to start, because I want to see how these guys do, these guys do, these guys do. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, I thought it was interesting that when you looked at the list, they had Julio Jones and AJ Brown, I think, at number 2. And I'm like, again, you have you don't know which Julio is going to come out. And again, are you ready to crown AJ Brown as one of the top receivers in the league? Because you got him at number 2 as a duo, and there's 20 receivers on that list, and you got these guys basically at 3 and 4. So yeah, I'm interested to see what Tannehill can do with these boys, but I'm going to reserve judgment on it until I see a little something. You know what I mean? And also, we want to shout out real quick for Delilah. She did apologize, guys. Her phone died, so I don't know that she's going to be joining us for the rest of the show. So she wanted to apologize to everyone, because we got people watching, and we all love Delilah. But apparently, I think she's going to be done for the rest of the show. So she did want us to get that out there. So I just wanted to get that out there really quickly. She apologizes. She loves you guys. She thanks you for supporting us. But I think we're going to be without her the rest of the show now. So.
Yeah, no. So thank you so much for that, Delilah. Again at 4416 North Clark Street.
Right, she's at my buddies, having a few brews,
right? So shout out to her for sticking with us and doing it. And she will be back next week.
She'll be back. Right, she'll be back. Yes.
But yeah, no, I think you're exactly right, and I think I too thought that Julio Jones and AJ Brown, I think they were up at number 2 because of the names. Because we're all looking at it, Julio, we're all looking at AJ Brown.
Yeah.
But I think we discussed it earlier when we said, not only do they have to compete for touches, but they also have a running back that gets 300 plus to potentially 400
I mean,
carries.
you have Derrick Henry. You're not going to just ignore him.
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't, but I'm just
so he's taking touches away from those guys, so that's definitely going to put them down.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how that offense does, like you said, with that three-headed monster. Because you got to admit, as far as running back, two receivers, maybe if you throw that into the mix, that's an impressive duo.
Right.
A trio like that, a trio of those guys. You go, I kind of like that. Because let's real quick. Who are the running backs here? Let's see. Who does Minnesota have in their backfield now? What's the kid's name?
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook, right. Yeah. So you got Dalvin Cook.
When he gets going.
And when he gets going, you're like, that's a good trio. Woods and Cup have Cam Akers, who is supposed to be, second year now. Cam is supposed to be the leading back there. See how he does. Evans and Godwin have what? What's my guy's name?
Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette what's his name?
Gronk. AB.
For the running back. They have what's the kid's name? He was the running back. Not Barber. What's it? Yeah, Tampa. I could see his face. Ronald Jones.
Oh, okay. Oh,
so right. So you got Jones. The trio of Jones, Evans, and Godwin. You're like, well, that's pretty good too.
But that's why I didn't put them up there though, because Evans and Godwin. You also have AB. You also have Gronk, and I realized that AB and Gronk didn't get the touches, and they came in there just to be a part of the team. But
Gronk had 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, my friend. Right. Well, that's what did he tell him? 2 tutties. He had 2 tutties in this.
He said, "We do this 2 tutties."
Right. This is 2 tutties. Right. So.
Yeah, but I mean, so there's a lot of different balls going around. I honestly think Woods and Cup. I think Woods and Cup are the ones that are going to get it mainly going to them. And you can say the same about Metcalf and Lockett too, because isn't there running back on? Is Carson still there?
No, I thought Carson was gone, honestly.
That's what I thought too. So
I thought Carson was gone.
An ample running game, that could be because who's their backup? Rashard
Russell Wilson is their running game at times.
Right. Yeah,
so
you're right.
You got Big Russ. Russ will take off and be like, bye.
He gets it done. Right.
He'll get it done. Like I said, he'll just get it done. So you don't, when you got Russ running and then you're throwing to Lockett and Metcalf, that ain't bad.
So definitely, let us know what y'all think. Let us know who you guys think is the top.
We want to hear from you, right? Yeah. Matter of fact, here's what I think we should do,
Carson
Sean.
is still there.
Oh, Carson is still there? Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you, sir, for that bit of information. We do appreciate that. Now put your shirt on. No.
What's up, Nick?
No, I was just going to say, maybe we should do this. If anybody is listening out there, and if anybody cares, to chime in, send it to us. And maybe next week on the air, we'll, read a little something from whoever submits something. I just think, I love the interactive part of all this. And people watch us weekly, so you guys follow what we're talking about and what we're doing here. So if you got something to say it.
So they definitely have been hitting us up in the comments. And I actually am interested in this. We should potentially do, since we've done a recent look at, these duos, the top 5 duos, and now Anthony Handy gave us some of his legendary best duos.
Oh, now you want best duos. Oh.
So Lynn Swan.
Look at you and John Stallworth. Okay. Well, come on. Clayton and Duper. How do you not have Clayton and Duper like right up there? Marino was throwing to those 2 guys.
That's who he has.
That was a no-brainer.
I put up the posse. Art Monk, Ricky Sanders, and Gary Clark were dominating the game.
Yeah. The 3 Amigos? The positive 3 Amigos.
That was Denver. That was
Denver. Yeah. Oh, Denver had the 3 Amigos. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Vance Johnson, Mark Jackson.
Yeah.
So definitely, check this out next week because I think we might have to do that. Next week, we might need to give what are our best
classic duos.
Classic duos.
Jerry Rice and John Taylor.
Yes.
I don't know.
Oh, you have to.
Well, there's anything. Jerry Rice, John Taylor.
People sleep on John Taylor.
I think they do. That's why I said. Is that something people consider? As far as duo, we know Jerry Rice was a beast, but I think John Taylor was just as. I don't want to say just as good, but he was there.
Yeah, and the thing about John Taylor was also a kick returner, so he definitely helped them with that.
He helped out that way. Exactly.
Shout out to the Shirtless Wonder. Thank you for having me on the show. I hope you have a show again next week. You already know.
Anytime, my friend. Sure, anytime. Come on down.
And look, Abs is not coming after me about not wearing a shirt.
Hey, man, that's not funny. I still got to stay 500 feet away. Don't play. That's not right. That's not right.
Yo, shout out to Ab. Watching Football Weekly Wednesday nights, man. Doing his thing, man.
There it is.
Let's go. Okay, so all right, so this is good. So for all time, I like this. If it's not,
so why would you do best duos?
You
want to include like running back, receiver, running? I mean, are we just doing like best offensive duos of all time? That we're doing?
Are we doing?
How do we want to do? How do we want to word this for everybody to write? How do we want to word this so people get the right? I
say we keep it at pass catchers.
It's pass catcher. So it's best duos like tight end, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Yes. Okay, so just pass catchers then. No running backs.
Yeah, no running backs out of the backfield. Yeah.
Okay.
So just
either
two receivers, a tight end and a receiver. God forbid 2 tight ends. I don't know who would have 2 tight ends.
Before he went on a murderous spree, Aaron Hernandez and Gronk would have been a good one.
That's true.
But unfortunately, Aaron had issues. So
yeah, that's true.
But yeah. So okay, I like it. 2 pass catchers. I like that. All time. All time.
So tune on, and I'll make a commercial with the. I got to shout you out, Ab. I'm gonna show love. Garcon and D-Jax, when they were with Washington that year that Kirk Cousins went on, they were monsters. Shout it out. Hey, there you go, man. Let's go.
There you go. Sure.
So next week, guys, definitely tune in because we will be doing our best
duos, pass catching duos
of all time. So it could be wide receiver, tight end, or tight end. But obviously, it's probably gonna be a wide receiver in there.
Yeah, wide receiver would probably be in there somewhere.
So definitely hit that. Definitely. While we're on here, and I regret that Delilah can't be with us, but we will keep going in her honor.
In her honor, we shall move on. Show must go on.
Seeing as we have been talking about minicamp, there have been a lot of position battles that are being highlighted right now.
Yes.
A lot of them that we've talked about through the draft and kind of some of the things that they did. The first one I'll start with in Jacksonville. We talked about them drafting Travis Etienne, but they already had a breakout running back in James Robinson.
James Robinson, yes.
So how do you see this battle going?
Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you exactly how I see this. You know who's going to start week 1 at running back? James Robinson. And I'll tell you why. He's coming off a good year. He's a guy who's already got I know there's a new coach, so they're all probably learning a new style of offense, a little bit different than what Robinson had. But Robinson is a pro. Regardless if it's 1 year, 2, whatever, Robinson at least has a better grasp on the speed of the NFL. And I think Travis, there's no reason to bring him along faster than he needs to be brought along. Running backs aren't as much of a premium in the NFL anymore. Yeah. So this is a great opportunity for Travis to really get his feet planted solidly in the NFL, get used to the speed of the game, get used to all the different play calls and all that stuff. And you could have a serious 2-headed monster here with these 2 guys. I mean, these guys could be great for the long-haired wonder that is Trevor Lawrence because protection is always good. You got to protect them, and you got backs in there who can block a little bit. So I mean, I think this is a good thing. And again,
well, which way do you lean though? Do you go with the guy?
I said James Robinson. Day 1 starter, James Robinson. Okay. I said James Robinson. Week 1 starter should be James Robinson. Not that Travis. But again, if it comes to where Travis just can't be held back and he blows everybody away in training camp and preseason and just that may cause a dilemma for Mr. Urban Meyer, but I still think you go with James Robinson to start the season. There's no reason for, anything. Not at this point anyways. Again, Travis Etienne is your future, hopefully, with your, with
unless
Robinson.
Unless he shows you something that just balls to the wall. That's just bonkers.
Exactly. Unless he absolutely blows you off of your chart, then there's, I don't think there's any reason to not start James Robinson.
Right. So, and we'll go on to the next one. In Denver, they also had a little 2-headed monster at running back. Melvin Gordon versus my guy out of North Carolina, Javonte Williams, baby.
Well, go ahead. All right, so your guy versus Melvin Gordon. What saith you, Mr. Sean?
Well, I think the key is actually health. Melvin Gordon has had injury issues. He had them last year. So a lot of what we're going on is the past with him and what he did with the Chargers.
Sure.
So if he goes back to that level, yes, he's the veteran. He's a solid back. Javonte Williams is still a rookie coming out of college into this.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say is, I'm biased. You know, I'm biased because I'm North Carolina.
A little bit.
And Javonte Williams played in that pro style offense under Mac Jones. You know what I mean? So he was kind of more, and him and Michael Carter were more NFL ready. So if there's an injury issue, I go Javonte Williams all day. But if they're healthy, both of them, Gordon.
Well, see, this could be a case of where, even though, like you said, Javonte is a rookie, because Melvin Gordon has question marks coming in. Mm-hmm. Yes, of course, it's always possible to have them both on the field at the same time, sure. But this is definitely one of those spots where you could see them splitting time with the first team. You know what I mean? You got Gordon, maybe, is a first down, second down. You bring in Javonte for the third down or fourth down on a play if you got a short yardage situation. So this could be actually really good for Denver, especially if, they get Deshaun Watson as a quarterback, which is the latest rumor that he wants to play there. So who knows? Who knows?
That's also the rumor of another quarterback that I will not mention.
He's not playing football anymore. He's hosting Jeopardy and going to Hawaii with superstars and, whatever. His name he shall remain nameless for the rest of this show or for the next 8 weeks. Who cares?
Not feeling him.
Yeah, I don't care.
Nick is not feeling that.
I'm not feeling him at all. Please, let's just stop. But anyways, to your point, I could definitely see a nice little battle here in Denver. It's a good problem to have. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think it's a good problem to have.
Now,
go Broncos.
Another battle that is actually be very relevant this year. And it hasn't been relevant for a while because it's been one man running the show in New Orleans. Drew Brees, who is just retired, left the keys to the franchise to Jameis Winston, Mr. Home, eating his wins. Yeah. And Mr. I'm Taysom. I'm everything but a quarterback Hill.
Yeah. I gotta think Jameis is the quarterback here, as much as, gadget plays are fun and all this stuff. But, the way Taysom Hill was used, I think you continue to use him in that way. You got a guy who can throw the ball if you need him to. You got a guy who can run out of the backfield, catch out of the backfield, do some crazy stuff, run your wildcat, that sort of thing. But I think for your every down guy, you got to go with Jameis Winston. And, again, you hope that Jameis's head is clear. He's in camp ready to play. You know what I'm saying? When camp starts, that he's in there ready to play. He's got his, playbook down. He knows what he's doing. He takes those first team reps. He gets in there and gets comfortable with everybody. I mean, you think about, you talk about twosomes. I mean, you still got Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. So, I mean, how do you not – you still have a powerhouse offense here in New Orleans. So, I mean,
right.
If Jameis can get it together, my man, you've got the keys to a very successful season in New Orleans, I think, because their defense is still pretty good, and you have weapons on offense. So, I mean, Drew Brees obviously is a huge loss at quarterback, but I think if Jameis can get out of his head, forget about being the 30-30 guy and just go out there and play football, man. Like, what's past is past. You haven't thrown an interception yet this year, so just relax, get in there, play your game, and do your thing, man. I mean, I'll root for, again, I know famous Jameis has a few, some, characteristics that people may not like or some things that happened in his past, and I understand. Never want to downplay those kinds of things.
Oh, yeah, that's.
But I'm just saying, but let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. Again, you just don't know. I don't know. But I think Jameis should be the starter.
Yeah, I think he will. Shout out to Ab, who's 100% on James's training. Says calling it now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Pro bowler.
Oh, listen to this. Going bowling already. Right. Look at you.
That's his guy. So, I think Jameis is the quarterback for this team. I think he will take the team over. And it will be his team to lose. I think it's kind of going to be like Fitzpatrick. I love my guy Fitzpatrick, but we all know how halfway through the year, something happens and the switch gets flipped, and he just
Riverboat Ron.
Yeah,
Dun,
so
dun, dun. We're gonna gamble.
I'm interested to see what Jameis does because again, he still threw 5,000 yards, over 5,000 and 30 TDs. But you cannot overlook those 30 INTs.
I was gonna say, you overlook 30 interceptions.
You can't overlook it. You can't overlook it. So, and they Saints have had to make a number of moves in order to make space for these contracts and things like that. So I don't think it's that same team that everybody thinks. Oh, you're just missing Drew Brees. I think there's a lot more pieces that are missing now.
Well,
and I think that could play into
you
it.
still have the blueprint in the sense, and the key parts are there.
Yeah,
the key parts of the offense, anyways. So you never know. If you get into a shootout, you might be all right.
Right. I can see. And last but not least, the guy that I have been riding for all the way through, dealt with injuries, been mistreated, talked about, bamboozled.
Here we go. All right. Sure.
All right.
Ambushed.
It was traded to a team that at one point this year played a practice squad wide receiver. Teddy Bridgewater is going against Drew Lock for that starting spot in Denver. Nick, I am 100% sold on Teddy Bridgewater. Everywhere he goes, eventually gets the starting role. And hopefully this year he can get it and they can build around him and not just be like, push him aside. What you think, Nick?
No, I obviously, I have talked about it before. I like Teddy. I think Teddy obviously New Orleans, it didn't work out, but the guy was 5-0 there when he came in. He took over for Drew, came in, led the team, was 5-0. Exactly. He got a bad break in Carolina, I think. I don't, and then they ended up, because they got Sam Darnold, there was no room for Teddy. So Teddy now goes to Denver, and again, he has another opportunity to prove that he is a legit NFL quarterback, and I truly hope that he does, and I truly hope that even for Drew Lock, I don't hate Drew Lock or anything, but Drew's still a young guy too. So if you can learn from a guy like Teddy and just kind of, soak in a little bit. Here's a guy who's been around in the league for a few years. Drew's only been in one or two now. Mm-hmm. So, this could be a great opportunity for Drew to even learn from Teddy. So I really think Teddy should be the starter here. This should be Teddy's team, with Jerry Jeudy and the running back situation there. Denver, you're not thinking playoff team, but they could make a little noise. They could upset some people and make them a little uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying?
Don't sleep on them.
Right, don't sleep on Teddy. So that's all I'm saying is I agree that Teddy should definitely be the starter. And hopefully they'll be able to upset the apple cart as it is, and throw a little monkey wrench into people's plans in the AFC West. There, we'll see how it goes.
Hey,
I always look for Teddy. I like Teddy. I always have.
Same here. I think I got a raw deal in Carolina. The injury, but got a raw deal in Minnesota. Teddy, I've been following you since you came out of Louisville, man. Yeah. I hope for all of the best. I hope you get this job. So shout out to you. And ladies and gentlemen, I know it's just the two of us, but we will still do the final segment of this show.
Oh.
One last word. Yes, sir. One last word on this week. Nick, I'm going to give you the floor. One last word. What you got, buddy?
Well, I guess it's technically 2 or 3 words, but I'm going to give you 100%. And for those of you asking, what does that mean? I live in Chicago, Illinois. And my governor and my mayor have deemed that tomorrow will be the day that the state and the city open back up to 100% capacity for all events, for all businesses to open up fully, for all, bars, restaurants, whatever have you, that it's time that we open up. And again, I understand it's been a long last, 15, 16 months in the house for a lot of people. All I want to say is this, everybody. As I've said this before, please be kind to yourself, to each other and yourself, because there's going to be a lot of, still questions about where do I have to wear a mask here? Do I have to wear a mask there? Patience is still required. Don't again, whatever you want to do, to each his own. Like I said, if you really don't want to wear a mask, that's on you. But don't be mad at the people who do wear them. Or in the same token, don't, if you're wearing a mask, don't get into an unnecessary argument or fight with someone who's not wearing one. Everybody, again, we've been through this for 16 months now. Everybody basically who wanted to get the vaccination, I'm sure has gotten it by now. Yeah. And the people who didn't. So, I mean, everybody still has to, live and work together, and we still got to try to, make sure we get rid of this disease, this COVID entirely. So just be nice to each other, man. Again, the city's going to be opening up. There's 3 million people that live here, and everybody, it's supposed to be a beautiful weekend. I'll be working, as my second job, for a lot of you may know, I work at Wrigley Field as a second job. And so I'm working all weekend this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Again, we're at 100% capacity, which means we're going to be having 41,000 plus in the ballpark for these games all weekend for Cubs, Cardinals. So again, I'm going to be bombarded with stuff, and it's, just be safe out there, guys. Take care of yourselves, do the best you can. Again, we're all, we all want to get back to some sense of normal. I get it. Believe me, I do. But please, just be safe out there, guys.
No doubt. And, from real stuff, be safe, my man.
Yeah, for sure. Doubt. Absolutely, man.
No doubt. And we got to shout out a bunch of you have been watching. We got up to about 5 or 6 people watching the show. Shout out to you, Nathan. Shout out to you, the Shirtless Wonder, my guy, Ab Lowe. Shout out to Anthony Handy. Wendy, thank you so much for joining the show.
Wendy made an appearance on the show this week.
Wendy came on. Donovan Hindler, Bears fan, it looks like, man.
Really?
Shout out to you for joining us.
A fellow Bears fan. We like those.
Oh yeah, he's saying he's a QB in a corner and run a 5.440 at 14, second fastest in the state. So he's always been watched by people from high school and colleges. But D2 are trying to get to D1. He commented to a Florida Gator. So, shout you out, man. Hopefully everything works for you, man. That'd be so great.
Best of luck, young man. Right. Get out there and do it.
So,
make it happen.
My one last word, guys, is, hey, you guys that are watching us, look, that's why we do it. And one of the things that I love about Nick and I love about Delilah, even Delilah, she messaged us and she made a point to say, I want you to tell them, hey, sorry I couldn't be a part of this. The phone died. I couldn't finish out the show, but I absolutely love doing it. I love being here with you guys, listening to the comments, going back and forth. So, hey, shout out to you guys. Shout out to the fans. Shout out to everybody that takes the time to pay attention and watch us. I know sometimes it's a little late with the Eastern and Central time, but it's all gravy. Hey, we
live in 2 different time zones, people.
Right. And we've been able to do it.
So far, right? We made it work so far, right?
So definitely tune in, guys. We will be back next week. For me, my last word is just thank you, guys. We couldn't do it without you, Nick, Delilah. Same way. I feel the same way about you guys, and I've told you multiple times.
Couldn't do it without you, pal. You started this.
Couldn't do it without you. Hey. If it was up to me, I'd be talking Catherine zero. Now Catherine's mad because I don't say anything to her. Because I'm hitting you guys up all the time.
I don't talk to my girlfriend anymore because I talk to everybody else. Man.
I talk to my guys.
Right.
So,
that's hilarious.
Shout out to all y'all.
You know what? Shout out to Kat for allowing Sean to be his goofy ass self and always be on this damn thing doing a podcast when he should be spending time with you. I know, Kat. I know how you feel, girl. I see what's happening. I see what he's doing to you.
I appreciate that, babe. I appreciate it.
That's right. Shout out to Cat Hughes. Cat Hughes.
Right. So we will definitely be with you next week. Yeah. I am Sean Spencer, Mr. Double Deuce. I got my guy, Mr. I Want the Smoke.
Hey, Nick Rosario. That's me. Hey, that's what Mama said. Mama said. Mama said. Mama said. Definitely. We'll be with you guys next week. There's plenty of news and notes. Appreciate you joining us. We will talk to you soon. Yep. Have a great week, everyone.
Take care.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
I am Janae Strother.
I'm Sean Spencer.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta go out and hold up.
Come on. The lion. The lion. You need to so funny.
this. All right. I am Janae Struther.
I am Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.